Folks, summer is here, and it's the best time to be a currency trader. It really is. It's been some time since I went live with Rob Booker and introduced the Jump Trade service. Now, we've been getting amazing questions, and one of the questions is the US dollar part of the Jump Trades portfolio, and whether I trade the US dollar? And the answer may surprise you. I've also received some Jump Trades members' emails that are just amazingly impressive. To sum it up, one of my favorite reviews from a new member says, "I feel like I'm dreaming." Click the button below to learn more about what Jump Trades can do for you. So the question is, do I trade the US dollar, and is the US dollar part of the Jump Trades portfolio? And that's really a good question. So let me explain a few things to you. This is the dynamics of Jump Trader, and this explains to you how we pick the portfolio. Now, don't worry about 80-20 or 20-80. That just tells you where we put aggressive or non-aggressive portion of our portfolio to. That really doesn't have anything to do with the selection process. Now, the selection process is simple. We take the US dollar and gold because they have inverse correlation with another. In other words, we don't want two assets that are correlated. We want inverse correlation. But then, here's what happens. If you take the US dollar and you compare it to the euro, yen, and Aussie, they have negative correlation, all right? They don't have correlation the same way. But what happens in that case is they become correlated with gold. So we want multiple currencies that are not correlated with gold. So what we want is we want an inverse relationship between the euro, yen, and Aussie and the gold. And if we trade gold with euro, yen, and Aussie and include the US dollar, we're going to have more correlation between the assets, and we don't want that. So what we do is we don't trade the US dollar because we want that inverse relationship. So what we do is we trade the euro, yen, and Aussie in an inverse manner, okay? Very important, in an inverse manner, and then we have proper correlation, negative correlation with gold. So again, we don't trade the US dollar because the US dollar is not going to give us correlation with the inverse euro, yen, and Aussie. It'll have the same correlation. And since we're trying to get the most amount of currencies to trade against the gold, we don't want to bring the US dollar into the mix because there'll be too much correlation between the inverse euro, yen, and Aussie and the regular US dollar. So no, the US dollar is not part of our portfolio. It's not part of Jump Trade. Instead, we have the gold market and we have an inverse euro, yen, and Aussie. And if you take the inverse euro, yen, and Aussie, it'll be correlated with the US dollar. And since we already have three assets there, we don't need any more correlation. Hope that answers that question. So, what's Jump Trades? A set of trades that combines all of the power and movement in the big money markets that Rob Booker follows, with all of the hedging and the risk management that I do. Click the button below now to learn how we can set up trades to combine what we do together, and how we can start supercharging your portfolio today.